What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to talk to you about a really cool topic in the Pokemon TCG. The competitive scene of the Pokemon TCG has been exploding recently, but the collector side of things has also been exploding recently. Prismatic Evolutions brought back a lot of hype to the collecting scene of Pokemon, and I know the Journey Together and trainer sets and the Rockets Mewtwo set that is coming out fairly soon, later this year, are bring a lot of collector hype to the game. And I know that there are a ton of collectors out there that got started, after 2020 when things really started to take off. And so I wanted to talk about the topic of how to go from a collector to a competitor in the Pokemon TCG. I know a lot of people have a lot of fun collecting the cards, but then you kind of have the question of what do you do with those cards, those other cards that aren't as collectible that you might be opening out of packs and those sorts of things. And the answer is you can compete with them. And there are some really cool ways to compete in the Pokemon TCG. There's a lot of different levels of tournaments that you can play in, starting from very, very casual to massive, massive international and world championship events. So, if you didn't know about the competitive side of the Pokemon TCG, this video is for you. It is a massive world. There's a ton of cool stuff going on in it right now. And if you are a collector, I think that this is a cool topic for you to investigate because not a lot of people know how massive Pokemon tournaments can be. They are huge events, especially the international championships and the world championships. So we're going to go over that topic of how to go from a collector to a competitor today. In this video, and what we're going to talk about in this video is the types of tournaments that there are. There are a lot of different types of tournaments, how to find those tournaments, how to register for those tournaments, and then what to bring to a tournament and how to find a good deck. All of those are important topics of getting involved in the competitive side of the Pokemon TCG. So starting off here, we have what types of tournaments there are. So it's kind of split into three different categories for official events. So for official events, there are local tournaments, and that would be your local league nights, which are very casual, not really anything on the line. Then you have your league challenges, which are a little bit of a step up from league nights. They have points attached to them. Championship points are things that you can earn at local and non-local events to help you earn your invite to the World Championships every year. So for our locals, we have league nights. Then league challenges are a step up from that, and then league cups are a step up from league challenges. And then for non-local events, we have regional championships, which are major events that could be held, anywhere in the world. If you're in Europe, there's different countries in Europe that they're held in. If you're in America, there's regionals in Wisconsin, in Baltimore, in Atlanta, in Portland, in San Antonio. All over the country, there are Pokemon regional championships happening. And then Pokemon International Championships, right now, as of our current calendar, there are 3 international championships a year. And for the last couple of years, they've been held in the same cities, so we can expect that to probably be the case going forward. But for international championships, usually in November, we have the Sao Paulo International Championships in Brazil for Latin America, the Latin America International Championships. And then after that, sometime in the spring or winter, we have the European International Championships that is most likely in London. And then we have the North American International Championships, which is in New Orleans. So those are the types of official events, but there's also online tournaments that you can participate in that aren't official events, but a good way to get involved in the competitive scene and start playing with very low stakes if you have like nerves about competing at an in-person event. So for online tournaments, the main way you're going to play in these is at play.limitlesstcg.com. This is an amazing website. You can go to tournaments, the tournaments tab, then upcoming tournaments. And you can filter to Pokemon TCG Live. That is the online platform for the Pokemon TCG. So if you've seen those code cards coming out of booster packs, those are ways to get cards on the Pokemon TCG Live. You can scan those codes and get open packs on TCG Live and start building decks on there. So if you don't have TCG Live downloaded first, I would recommend downloading that and getting familiar with the game. And then you can look at online tournaments, pretty low stakes, just kind of starting to get involved in it. And you can go to the tournaments tab here on play.limitlesstcg.com, go to upcoming tournaments, and then you can select any of these. Once you've created an account, you can just register for the event, and then you'll have to submit a deck list most of the time. And in TCG Live, that's really easy. You can just export your deck list, and then you just copy and paste it into the area on the website where they say to submit your deck list. So those are online tournaments. They're very casual. Sometimes there's like some prizing on the line, like code cards or maybe even a little bit of cash, but no pressure on these. It's just a great way to start getting involved in the game without leaving your house. Then for local events, obviously we have league challenges and league cups, but your casual league nights are also involved in this. If you have a local game store near you, they probably have 1 or 2 nights a week where they just have their regular league night, very casual events. You just come in, play 3 or 4 rounds of Pokemon, and you might get a couple of booster packs depending on how you do. So that's a lot of fun. And then a step up from that, like we talked about, is league challenges. They're just sort of like a glorified league night. They may have a couple more rounds depending on attendance, but they also have championship points tied to them, but still very casual. And then league cups, these are normally going to happen on the weekends. They're not something that can be done in an evening. So they're usually going to be held on a Saturday or a Sunday. And league cups have some cool prizing that we'll go over here in another slide. But league cups will have probably 4 or 5 Swiss rounds, depending on, again, your attendance. And then a cup cut to the top 4 or top 8, where the top 4 or top 8 will play best of 3 until you have a winner crowned in the League Cup. So, again, both the League Challenges and League Cups have championship points tied to them. But again, locals are a very low pressure environment for you to get involved in the competitive side of the TCG. So how do we find these events? Well, first of all, we're going to go to events.pokemon.com. They have an event locator on their website, so you can filter to like your zip code, and then you can see all the events in your area. You can filter it to just the card game, because there's also video game events. You can filter it to just look at league challenges, or just league nights, or just league cups, whatever you're looking for, and you can find stores near you that are going to be holding these events. And then one thing to know too, you want to have a player ID when you start participating in your local leagues. And so you can go to this link here to generate a player ID for yourself. You can also talk to the tournament organizer or judge at your locals to help you do this as well, but you want to have a Pokemon player ID to start attending your locals. You don't need it to attend your locals, but they'll help you get it set up. You do want to have it though if you're going to start participating in the competitive side of the Pokemon TCG. It's just a good thing to have. So those are your local events, and the prizing for locals is really cool. For League Cups, every quarter there's a new playmat that they send out for the champion. And so for the champion of the League Cup, you will get this special playmat. This quarter, it is the Terra Pikachu, which is really cool. It has the champion on there and the play Pokemon logos as well. And then you also get some prize packs. So if you didn't know, there's a type of pack that you can only get by going to your local league. They are these prize packs. There's series 1 through 6 right now. And they have all the cards that you would find. Well, not all the cards, but all the cards you find in them you could find in the normal sets that you open up. But they are special because they have the Play Pokemon stamp on them, and they have some really cool holo patterns and stuff like that. So these are really, really cool prizes that you can just get. Usually just by showing up, you'll get a couple from the judge or the tournament organizer, and then you can get more depending on how you do. And then some league cups as well. You'll get the champion mat for getting first place, but if it's a large enough league cup and you have a good local store, sometimes you can win like a full booster box for winning a league cup. So those are really cool. So that is the highlights of our locals prizing. Then we have non-locals, so it's the Pokemon Regional Championships and the International Championships. This isn't true for all of them, but most of them can be found and registered for on rk9.gg. That is sort of the tournament website that Pokemon uses. You can find the dates for all of the regional and international championships on the Pokemon website if you just Google Pokemon Regional Championships or Pokemon International Championships, but it's hard to know where you're going to register. They don't make it super easy to know that. You have to go to rk9.gg. That is the website where you will register for regional championships and international championships. The dates and times are listed for registration on that website normally. And one thing to note, internationals sell out almost immediately. So you need to be like right on top of it for internationals. Like they'll probably do 2 or 3 waves for international championships, and they will all sell out within like the first minute. So you got to be right on top of the registration time. I would say the same thing for regionals. I would just be right on top of that registration time. Sometimes they sell out in 5 minutes. Sometimes they don't sell out for a couple of weeks. You just don't know. So if you're trying to register for one of these, you got to be right on top of that registration time and be as fast as you can, clicking through all the screens you need to click through to get registered for these. That is one thing I will note. Be really fast on registration for regionals and internationals because you don't want to miss out on one that you're planning to go to. So pricing for regionals and internationals is pretty crazy. So TCG Cash pricing for regional championships in the Masters division is $10,000 for first place, $7,000 for second place, $5,000 for third or fourth place, $3,000 for top 8, so 5th through 8th place. Top 16, 9th through 16th place gets $2,000, and then top 32, 17th through 32nd gets $1,000. So really, really good cash pricing. Along with that, you also get booster boxes. So I believe top 128 or better gets top 128, top 64, top 128 and top 64 gets a booster box, a full booster box. Top 32 and top 16 gets 2 booster boxes. And then anyone from first place to top 8 gets 3 booster boxes. So really good cash pricing, really good booster box pricing at these major events. Then for international championships, the cash pricing is even better. For top 64, there's $2,000 in cash pricing. For top 32, there's $3,000 in cash pricing. For top 16, there's $5,000. Top 8 is $7,000. Top 4 is $10,000. Second place is $15,000. And first place is $25,000. And the booster box pricing I mentioned for regionals is the same for international championships as well. So you can get a lot of really, really cool pricing from major events. Obviously, they're very difficult events because there are a ton of top players playing at them. So they are going to be the highest difficulty of an event. They're all day on Saturday, and then you got to play in Sunday. If you make day 2 after Saturday, you play in Sunday and try to get your best placement that you can by winning as much as you can, obviously. But they are very rewarding when you really get into the competitive scene. They're a lot of fun, and you get to travel to cool different cities to play in them. And find a group of friends to travel with and everything like that too makes it a lot of fun. So that is our major event pricing. So what do you need to bring to tournaments? So first of all, you need dice and damage counters. This helps you, flip. If you need to flip a coin, heads or tails, people just normally roll a transparent dice that you would maybe get like in elite trainer boxes. And usually an even number is heads and an odd number is tails on a dice. So if a card says flip a coin, you can just roll a dice. Even as heads, odds as tails. Then you need damage counters. If your opponent attacks into you, you need to mark how much damage you have. People just normally use dice for that as well. So if somebody does 160 damage to you, you put dice on there to mark 16. Then you have status markers and V-star markers. You'll also find those in elite trainer boxes. Status markers are like burn and poison, and then there's a V-star marker in case you have a V-star in your deck. A V-star ability or power is one-time use in a game, so you want to have a marker for whether you've used that or not yet. You do need to sleeve your deck. You can use ETB sleeves. I would recommend something like Dragon Shields or dual spec sleeves for competitive use. You want to just bring extra sleeves in case one tears or you get a corner bent or something like that you can re-sleeve cards if you need to. For locals, you can bring a deck list. Otherwise, they'll have deck lists provided that you'll just need to fill out there. For larger events, I would recommend packing your bag with snacks, water, all that good stuff. And then a notebook just helps you note down things that are happening in a game. One of the things you learn in the competitive game is you need to check your deck for what prizes or for what cards you've prized, because you set out 6 prize cards face down at the start of the game. So a notebook helps you kind of note down what cards you've prized once you look through your deck. So those are the things you want to bring to a tournament. And then how do you find a good deck? What's doing well? Maybe you're not new to the game and you're not totally sure what cards are good. You can go to limitlesstcg.com/tournaments and see the results of all the most recent tournaments. The most recent tournament we have right now is the EUIC in London, the European International Championships that just happened in London. And you can go through and look at all the decks that did really well, and you can see the full deck list by clicking on this little icon here under list. And what I would totally recommend for new players, just copy somebody else's list. Don't try to make your own thing. Just copy what great players are already playing and don't make changes to it. Just find a deck that you find interesting and just copy a good player's deck list, and don't make your own changes for the beginning. For the beginning, just copy somebody else's deck list. And limitlesstcg.com is a great place to find that. So that is everything that I wanted to talk about today. This should give you a good breakdown of how to go from a collector to a competitor in the Pokemon TCG. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you do, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.